Welcome to Internet Quality Academy. The channel is for the quality control engineer, site engineer, and the civil engineer who are working in the construction field. Today also, we are going to discuss about a very important topics in the construction, which is very much important for the quality control and the project progress. That is formwork removal. Because if the formwork is there in the site, it is always delayed the project. So it is always advisable to remove the formwork to start the next activity. So what is the requirement to remove the formwork, and what is the minimum time period that we want to keep the formwork at site as per the IS 456? I will discuss in this video in detail. So stay tuned until the end to get the full information about the formwork removal. And if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notification. So without wasting any time, let's jump into the subject. That is formwork removal. What is the requirement of formwork removal and what is the minimum time period as per AS 456? The first things, what is the requirement is structural stability. Now we need to understand why we are making the formwork, because without the formwork, we cannot do the concrete, and we need to keep the formwork at the position until and unless the concrete has gained the certain amount of strength so that it can withstand with the own load and other load. So we need to first think about the structural stability. What ensure that concrete has achieved sufficient strength of the specific formwork removal time as per structural design and the specification. Verify that the formwork removal won't compromise the structural integrity of the concrete element. So each and every project has their own requirement that this much of strength has to develop before the formwork removal, that you need to check with your designer or the structural engineer that whether it is advisable or it is safe to remove the formwork from its position so that there will be no problem in the structural stability. So these things are first, that is a structural stability we need to check. Now we need to think about the curing, because curing plays a vital role for strength development. If we cannot do the proper curing at site, we cannot expect the desired strength of the concrete, because if you not do the concrete curing of the concrete, it may be the water inside the concrete evaporate, and eventually there will be less water inside the concrete and will not get the desired strength. So confirm that proper curing procedure have been followed to ensure concrete strength development. So it is important to follow the curing procedure. How it can be? We have several methods. We have the curing register. We need to put a date on the concrete surface, and from that date, 7 days, we need to monitor the concrete, and the concrete register is a curing register should be there. So whenever people are doing curing, they will make a tick 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 on sign, and different type of curing method is there: water curing, chemical curing, whatever the method is approved at your site. Also maintain that one and maintain the curing register. Then evaluate the curing period and confirm compliance with the project specification. Maybe it's required 7 days, 4 days, 3 days, whatever as per the requirement that you need to comply or that you need to follow at the site, that everything is in place and the curing has done as per the requirement and as per the project spec. So first structural stability, then curing, then we need to understand what is environmental condition. Why? Because the environmental has the major role in the concrete strength development and also in the concrete. So consider weather conditions and avoid formwork removal during adverse weather like heavy rain or extreme temperature. So if it is the temperature or the wind or the rain is not as per the requirement, or it is a heavy or extreme weather, we should not do the formwork removal because it has the detrimental effect on the concrete itself. Then assess wind condition, especially for tall or exposed structure, because wind has the always stability, always has the detrimental effect, and it will affect the newly concrete. So we need to understand that if there is a heavy wind, we should not remove the formwork. Maybe that wind cannot withstand that concrete. So it also remember the wind condition as well, or the environmental condition. Now, the fourth part is this documentation and approvals. It is also important that we need to do the proper documentation. Why? In the documentation is itself a quality control procedure. In this documentation, we will ensuring that each and every element of the formwork is as per the requirement, and if there is no harm whenever we are removing the formwork. What? ensuring that the concrete has been inspected, tested, and approved by the quality control team, and verify that the formwork removal procedure is approved by the structural engineer. Now, here is a very important things. We have the formwork procedure, how we will do the formwork from the bottom to the top. But now, what is the de-shuttering procedure? That also we need to approve, or we need to get it done at the site, because if there is no formwork removal, this can has the effect on the concrete itself, and it is unsafe for the worker who are working or who are doing the de-shuttering work. So that is also that the formwork removal procedures to be in place, and it should be also approved by the authorities or the design engineer or the structural engineer. So this documentation also we need to be verified whenever we are doing the formwork removal. Then safety precautions. So why safety precaution? Because whenever we are removing, this has the hazard, potential hazard. It can harm or it can injure people, or it can damage the properties. So we need to find out the solution or the procedure so that there will be no harm. What? Confirm that safety measure, including personal protective equipment, PPE, are in place. That means who are on the work, they should be wear PPE, and the area should be barricaded so that nobody can enter into the area, so there will be no injury. Then ensure that worker involved in the formwork removal for adequately trained. That is very much important, that you need to give the train, because it is a highly dangerous work and it has potential hazards for injury, and sometimes it can be fatal. So what you need to do, you need to train your people that these are the procedure, and this procedure has to follow at the side, and there is no deviation of the work, so that the safety also ensuring at the side. So before removal of the formwork, we need to find out the safety procedure, de-shuttering procedure, everything is in place. Then inspection and verification. What is that? Conduct a final inspection before formwork removal to identify any issues. Now it is very important. Sometimes we are saying, okay, start, and the worker will go, and the worker they will start. No, as a site engineer or as the engineer, what is our duty? To inspect that area thoroughly, and after, when you find that there is no potential hazard and there is no anything happens, if you do the formwork and everything is in place, then only will give the approval. Then verify that the removal process adheres to project specification and the industry standard. So that also we need to take care whether whenever we are doing any formwork removal process. So these are the things, and the next things is stripping time as per 456. See, as per 456 is our guidelines, and according to the 456, we need to find out what is the minimum stripping time, or what is the minimum time we need to keep the formwork in place in order to get the right kind of concrete or the strength. So as per IS 456 2000, clause 11.3.1, but it has the amendment number 5. What is that? That is what is saying, that is type of formwork, serial number, and then minimum period before striking of the formwork. So it is saying it is the minimum time we need to keep the formwork in place, which means you can keep it more, but it is the minimum time. What is the minimum time? For concrete made using OPC and for concrete made using cement other than OPC, or using mineral admixture like fly ash or slag. So there is two categories whenever we are using OPC and whenever we are using OPC and other material. So what is saying, vertical formwork to column and walls, what will be the minimum time period? 16 to 24 hours we need to keep, and after that, according to the criteria what I discussed before, if it is okay, then we can remove the formwork. And if it is OPC or other any material and mineral admixture, if you're using, that is also 16 to 24 days. Now, soffit formwork of slabs, props to be refixed immediately after removal of formwork, which means the slab formwork we can remove, but we need to reprop, or the prop we need to refix. So what is the minimum time? If it is OPC, that is 3 days. And if it is other than OPC, it is 7 days. So it is, if it is OPC, it's always minimum time, because the rate of heat of hydration or rate of hydration is more, strength gain is more. But it is in mineral admixture, slag, or GGBS, it is slow down the hydration process. That is why the time period is more. Now, soffit formwork of beams. Now, the beams, again, props to be refixed. So we can remove the formwork, but immediately we need to refix the props. What is the time period? It is 7 days for OPC and other cement for the 10 days. Now it becomes becomes the slab and beams props. Now, props of slab. Now we remove the formwork, but we have refixed the props. Now we need to remove the props as well. Now the slab for what is it? Spanning up to 4.5 meter, 7 days for OPC and 10 days for other cement, and spanning over 4.5 meter, OPC for 14 days and other also 14 days. Now props to beams and arches. What is spanning up to 6 meter is 14 days, and for OPC 14 days, other also 14 days, and spanning over 6 meter, OPC also 21 days, and other than OPC also 21 days. So these are the clause 11.31, and that is amendment 5. As per this, we need to keep the formwork the minimum time as is mentioned here, but also if we are using rapid hardening cement and any mineral admixture, so accordingly we need to play, and accordingly as per the designer or as per the project specification we can change the time, but that should be always adhered with the specifications and the project spec. So these are the minimum time we need to keep our formwork at site. Now after stripping the formwork, our work is not finished. What we need to do, first we need to find out the solution, we need to find out the procedure, everything, and we need to keep the formwork in place as per the minimum time specified in the IS 456. Now we remove the formwork. Now again our duty is not finished. Then we need to do the cleanliness, remove any concrete residue or debris from the formwork before dismantling, clean and grease formwork components for storage or reuse. So that means whatever the formwork is coming, that we need to keep it in the position, and we do clean and grease for the use for the other purpose or for the reuse. So area need to be clean. Why? Two things, that are safety hazard and the next activities. We need to start the next activity, and if it is not clean, we cannot start the next activity. And if it is not clean, there is a potential hazard in the terms of safety. So we need to clean the areas. And the last point is record keeping. Why? As a quality control procedure, you need to keep each and everything record. Maintain records of the formwork removal process, including dates, inspection, and any deviation from the original plan. That means from the approval, procedure, safety, cleanliness, minimum time period for the props and the formwork, everything we should need to keep in a record, and it should be signed and verified by the all party concerned, maybe the formwork team, maybe the quality team, site team, consultant, and the client, and then documents any lesson learned for our future projects. See, as per the ISO 9001, the PDCA cycle always we need to follow. That means plan, do, check, act. So whatever the lesson we learn, we need to implement for the further process, so that there will be implement, so there will be a continuous excuse me, there will be a continuous improvement. So it is our duty to do the continuous improvement at the site, so that our process will be redefined and refined, and it will be trends to zero defect. So these are the all about the formwork removal and minimum time as per the IS 456. And I hope you find this useful, and if you find it useful, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon, so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notifications. And I'm waiting for your valuable comments, so that from your comment everybody will be benefited. And I'm waiting for your comments so that from your comment I will come with more content like this. And thank you once again for watching me.